Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, Democrat Ralph Northam claims victory in Virginia's hard-fought race for governor.
And Democrats are closing the gap with Republicans in the state House of Delegates for the first time in 17 years.
And in Washington, longtime Republican Congressman Bob Goodlatte is not seeking re-election next year.
And Delegate Ben Klein says he's running to replace Goodlatte.
And the Rockbridge Report sits down with the first female clerk of court for Rockbridge County in Lexington. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Paige Williams.
And I'm James Laverty.
Democrats claimed victory Tuesday, winning the governor's race in Virginia and New Jersey. In Virginia, Lieutenant Governor Ralph Northam beat Republican Ed Gillespie. And in New Jersey, Democrat Phil Murphy beat Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno. CNN's Kristen Holmes breaks down the results.
Some are calling it a blue wave. Major wins for Democrats in the first statewide elections since President Trump took office.
We weren't born.
The big story coming out of Virginia in the governor's race, the first big test to Democrats ahead of the 2018 midterms. While poll numbers had shown a tightening competition leading up to the election, Democrat Lieutenant Governor Ralph Northam handily beating his opponent Ed Gillespie. Democrats celebrating the victory, some calling it a referendum on President Trump, who had endorsed Gillespie. The president tweeting about the results. Ed Gillespie worked hard but did not embrace me or what I stand for. Don't forget, Republicans won 4 out of 4 House seats, and with the economy doing record numbers, we will continue to win even bigger than before. Gillespie had embraced some of Trump's talking points while campaigning, invoking NFL players kneeling during the national anthem and echoing the president's calls to keep Confederate monuments, but distanced himself personally from the commander-in-chief, never appearing next to him, seen as a way to attempt to appeal to President Trump's base as well as more moderate Republicans. In New Jersey, Democrat Phil Murphy overwhelmingly beating Republican Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno for Chris Christie's governor's seat, bringing the state back to Democratic control for the first time in 8 years. And in New York, Mayor Bill de Blasio beating his Republican opponent for a second term with a progressive liberal platform. Across the country, Democrats and Republicans are analyzing these election results, planning, tweaking, all ahead of those 2018 midterms. In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes. Now back to you.
Democrats also carried the rest of Virginia's statewide ticket. Justin Fairfax will replace Northam as lieutenant governor. Fairfax beat Republican challenger Jill Vogel with 52% of the vote. And incumbent Mark Herring won another 4 years as Attorney General. Herring beat Republican challenger John Adams with 53% of the vote.
Lexington voters are still celebrating 2 days after their candidate, Democrat Ralph Northam, won the Virginia governor's race. Reporter Faith Pinu has the story.
While Tuesday's statewide results for a Democratic ticket may have surprised political pundits, voters' choices in Lexington, Buena Vista, and Rockbridge County came as no surprise. Lexington traditionally votes for Democrats as much as the county and Buena Vista vote for Republicans, and Tuesday night was no different. 66% of Lexington voters cast their ballots for Northam, while 61% of Rockbridge County voters and 66% Buena Vista residents supported the Republican candidate Ed Gillespie. Statewide, Northam won 53.89% to Gillespie's 44.99%, a significantly greater margin than the 5.3 points that Democrat Hillary Clinton took over President Trump in last year's tight race. Voter Ron Patrick says he is thrilled about the strong blue representation in the State House.
What I was hoping for that this would send a big message to Trump and the Republicans that they've got to change their ways.
In his victory speech, Northam, a career pediatrician, made promises to reach across the aisle and, quote, close the wounds that divide Virginia.
I want to let you know that in Virginia, it's going to take a doctor to heal our differences, to bring unity to our people. And I'm here to let you know that the doctor is in.
Lexington voted blue up and down the ticket, with 64% of the vote going for Lieutenant Governor-elect Justin Fairfax and 65% for Attorney General Mark Herring. All three top elected Democrats pointed to President Donald Trump in their election night speeches, saying that the Democratic streak proved support for the anti-Trump movement. Meanwhile, Gillespie supporter Jean Robinson says she was disappointed to hear of Tuesday's results, mostly because she did not like Northam's position on Confederate monuments. Northam has said monuments should be taken down, but the decision ultimately rests with localities.
But that was one thing. Tearing down statues is not going to change our history.
All eyes will be on the new Democratic leaders in the upcoming months. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Faith Pena.
President Donald Trump said it's not his fault that Republicans lost the Virginia governor's race. In a tweet Tuesday night, Trump said Republican Ed Gillespie did not embrace me or what I stand for. Gillespie's campaign tactics mimicked Trump's. He attacked Northam over sanctuary cities, said he would not remove Confederate monuments, and criticized NFL players' protests during the national anthem. Trump is currently on a 13-day trip across 5 Asian nations.
In Virginia's House of Delegates, Democrats closed the gap to a near even split with Republicans, who had a 66 to 34 majority before Tuesday. Nationally, Democrats gained about 24 state legislative seats.
I think it's pretty obvious that so many people in Virginia were upset with the way President Trump has tried to govern, has been unable to get anything done, has resorted to tweeting instead of leading, that yes, I believe that this was a rejection not only of President Trump, but of the policies that he and the Republican Party seem to be adopting.
Political analysts say exit interviews show anti-Trump sentiment drove voters to the polls.
Buena Vista has a new mayor after an upset in Tuesday's elections. The Rockbridge Report's Allison Murtagh joins us live from outside of Buena Vista City Hall.
Landslide victory. According to Fitzgerald, this shows that Buena Vista is ready for a change. No? No. Billy Fitzgerald unseated Mayor Larry Tolman in a landslide victory. According to Fitzgerald, this shows that Buena Vista is ready for a change and he's ready to take on the challenge. Council members will appoint a new member to serve in Fitzgerald's place for the remainder of his time in office. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Allison Murtagh.
Thanks, Allison. Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, reporter Bryn McCarthy takes a look at local voter turnout.
Looks like we're going to get some sunshine this weekend, but get ready for some winter weather. I'll have your weekend weather forecast next.
And later, students at Rockbridge County High School are helping the environment one recycling bin at a time. Reporter Allison Murtagh has the story. And here are more results from Tuesday's election.
So did it look horrible? No, it probably there's a lot of pictures on that. There's that?
Make the best of it.
C squared equals
25.
Good job.
Or C, find a loophole. When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend.
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Republican Congressman Bob Goodlatte is not seeking re-election next year. Goodlatte has been the representative for Virginia's 6th congressional district for the past 25 years. In a letter to voters, Goodlatte said he's retiring to spend more time with his family. He also said his tenure as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee is ending in December of 2018. On Tuesday, Virginia voters cast their ballots in local and statewide elections. Here in Lexington and Buena Vista and Rockbridge County, voter turnout was higher than expected despite the bad weather. Bryn McCarthy has the story.
Local voters continued to flock to the polls Tuesday in spite of cold temperatures and on and off rain throughout the day. Lexington election official Trina Welsheimer said voter turnout was steady. An election with only statewide and some local races typically does not draw much voter interest. But she says this year she saw higher voter turnout than they would normally expect.
This one happens to be a combination of state and local. Generally, those are not going to get a whomping amount of interest. But this year, I would say this is a higher voter turnout for this kind of election than we would normally expect.
Voters of all ages felt it was important to make their voice heard by voting. Peggy Dyson-Cobb was one.
We are able to vote, and it's the most important thing in our democracy that we still have this opportunity. And I'm really afraid with the way things are going in our government, we may not have that opportunity in a meaningful way. So I'm voting now so that we hold on to it.
Student Quinn Hoover volunteered on Election Day.
I came out even though it's raining because I think it's my civic duty to vote, and also because I was volunteering here in the first place, so it was really convenient for me.
By the end of the day, more than 2.6 million people in the state actually went out and voted. The total number of registered voters in Virginia was nearly 5.5 million, so about 47% of registered voters cast their ballots. Locally, in Buena Vista, 3,838 people were registered to vote, and about 40% of those people voted. In Rockbridge County, 14,345 people were registered to vote, and 55% of those people voted. Out here today, the weather is bleak and rainy, just as it was this past Tuesday, but that did not stop Lexington voters. Just under 4,000 Lexington voters were registered, and about 45% of them actually went out and cast their ballots. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Bryn McCarthy here in Lexington.
Thank you, Bryn. Well, it looks like the weather won't be getting much warmer than it was on Election Day. Is that so, Brennan?
Well, I'm afraid you're right, James. It looks like it's going to get down to as low as 19 on Friday, although the rest of the weekend should be pretty sunny. Let's look at the live forecast. So for today's high, we have a high of 51 degrees. The low is 31 degrees. The barometric pressure is 30.08 inches of mercury, and the wind speed's around 3 miles an hour. The humidity is also at 94%. And now as we look at our current regional conditions, across the board, it pretty much is pretty cloudy and also foggy as well. Charlottesville is at 50 degrees, Stanton's also at 46, as well as Lexington and Buena Vista. Covington's a little colder at 37 degrees, and Lynchburg's at 48. And as we look at our radar here, it shows some activity to the south, which kind of indicates the source of where all this fog and this overcast is coming from, as well as some rain in the future. And now as we look at our 5-day forecast, Friday looks to be pretty sunny. Friday through Sunday looks to be pretty sunny. Tomorrow is going to be a high of 45, although tomorrow night there should be a low of 19, which is going to be quite cold. Saturday should continue the sun with a high of 43 and a low of 26. Sunday, once again, should continue the sun, although later in the day there's actually expected to be a 60% chance of rain, which should lead into Monday. So Monday will look like we're going to have some rain. Tuesday later on, well, it'll be pretty sunny as well with a high of 56. Back to you guys.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report. Rockbridge County and Lexington welcome a new clerk of court for the first time in nearly 40 years. Reporter Katherine Young has the story.
And here are more election results.
children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Each one of our journeys keeps us young. Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
We'll never get older. Each one Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Why is my son having trouble in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with my son over his homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No. He's smart, but his mind wanders.
7 wonders of the world.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Independent candidate Michelle Trout was elected as the Rockbridge County Lexington Clerk of Court on Tuesday. Trout will succeed Bruce Patterson. Patterson served as the Clerk of Court for 39 years before retiring on September 29th. Trout has worked as the Chief Deputy Clerk of the Buena Vista Circuit Court for the past 16 years. Trout received 4,453 votes, defeating Democrat Dennis Ayers and Independent David Whitesell. She is also making history as Rockbridge County's first female Clerk of Court.
I obviously want to serve the citizens of Rockbridge County and the city of Lexington to the best of my ability. I would like to implement payment by debit and credit. That's exciting. We don't do that in Buena Vista, so that would be a new project.
Stay tuned for a sit down with Trout after the show.
Rockbridge County High School goes through a lot of paper every day. Most of it is thrown out because the school does not have an adequate recycling program. Students are now trying to change that. Allison Murtag has the story.
Caitlin Critchley grew up in West Virginia and saw the negative impact of the pollution from coal mines firsthand. Additionally, people around her did not recycle. When she moved to Rockbridge County, she was ready for a difference. Caitlin attended Maury River Middle School, where recycling was emphasized daily. But when she moved on to Rockbridge County High School, she found that many students no longer took the extra step to make sure their waste was recycled.
At our middle school, there was bins in every room, and we all usually pitched in to work on recycling.
This doesn't appear to be the case at RCHS. Students say that there are limited recycling bins and that the majority of bins are used just for plastic bottles.
Because a lot of the time, like in lunch, if we throw something away, the bins are all the way like on the other side of the cafeteria and stuff, and it's a lot easier, especially when the bell rings. You don't want to be late, so you just throw all your stuff away instead of recycling.
But now, these students and their classmates are working to make recycling the norm at RCHS. It's the theme they've chosen for their freshman course in leadership development.
Basically, our class is focusing on how to get recycling bins in the classrooms to reduce the paper waste.
Cindy Lunsford, the teacher of this 9th grade class, says the students are doing more than just helping bring recycling to the school.
We've had our ups and downs, but we started off like with team building skills and problem solving, and they did really well.
The students were divided up into 5 teams, ranging from the communications team to the education team. Within these teams, students work together to offer solutions for how to improve recycling at the school. With the project well underway, students have high hopes for bringing recycling to RCHS.
To better, the county is really something important to me because I feel like I'm helping create a better tomorrow.
The students plan to have the new recycling system implemented by the end of the semester. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Allison Murtagh.
The Ruffner Place Bridge near the Lexington Country Club is getting a facelift. The bridge will receive a new concrete deck, new I-beams, and new guardrails. It received a poor rating in its latest inspection, but it is not eligible for state funding. Lexington allocated $75,000 for emergency repairs, hoping to extend the life of the bridge by up to 20 years. Construction will begin in the coming weeks and will affect about 6 households.
Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, a local organization is promoting arts and business in Lexington. Reporter Nuya Zoe catches up with the group's founder.
And Aspen Moraif will bring us the latest on local sports.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
2 well-known challengers unseated 2 incumbents on the Rockbridge County School Board on Tuesday. Corey Bergstresser beat Kevin Brooks for the South River District, while Heather Hostetter beat Lori Strong for the Cares Creek District. Bergstresser is the general manager of Lehigh Travel Plaza, and Hostetter is an office manager at her husband's excavating company.
Now, let's take a look at sports. Several Washington and Lee teams are fighting to gain spots and advance in the NCAA tournament. Tell us about it, Aspen.
Thanks, Paige. It was quite the game for Washington and Lee's field hockey team on Wednesday. The Generals fought tirelessly to beat Denison 1-0 in double overtime. Junior forward Haley Tucker scored the game-winning goal, advancing the team to the second round of the NCAA tournament. The team will play top-ranked Messiah on Saturday at 11 o'clock. Turning to soccer, Washington and Lee's men's soccer team fell to top-ranked Lynchburg 2-1 in the ODAC championship game on Sunday. Junior midfielder Dylan Rich scored the Generals' lone goal. Despite the loss, it was announced on Monday that the Generals earned an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. Washington and Lee will host Mary Washington in a first-round doubleheader on Saturday at 1:30 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Washington and Lee's football team will travel to play Shenandoah this Saturday at 1 o'clock for the ODAC championship game. A victory for the Generals will secure them a spot in the NCAA tournament. The Generals defeated Bridgewater 49-21 on Saturday afternoon at Wilson Field. First-year running back Josh Brees rushed 27 times with a total of 249 yards and 1 touchdown. And that's all for sports. Back to you.
Lex Collective has been Lex Collective has been around for almost a year, and it's an organization that promotes the arts and businesses in Lexington. Founder Jamie Gooden said the group provides a platform for young artists. Nuya Zhao has the story.
Washington Lee alumnus Jamie Gooden didn't like his DC Metro life after graduating in 2010. He came back to tranquil Lexington and founded Lex Collective, which is an art culture organization in Rockbridge County. Gooden said he believes that the art atmosphere in Lexington brings value to the local economy.
The artist community definitely contributes to the tourism market in terms of just direct retail sales.
Gooden is experienced with marketing and event organizing. He owns a marketing and consulting company called JRG Solutions. He's the president of Main Street Lexington and Lime Kiln Theater. He's also WL's digital engagement manager and in charge of running WLU Lex on social media. Lex Collective's mission statement is to give artists a platform and make Lexington a more attractive place for millennials to live in. He calls this placemaking.
It's cool to be somewhere where there's artistic people around.
Currently, Lex Collective helps organize the art gallery evening that happens the first Fridays of each month. Artists who are not affiliated with galleries now have a chance to display their artwork with the help of Lex Collective. The organization also hosts live music events at Hopkins Green and other places in town a couple times a year. All that is organized by dozens of young artists.
It's helpful when there's a large community of artists to have an organization that can sort of bring them together.
The organization also has meetings once or twice a month with WL students to discuss what can be improved. About half a dozen people are on Lex Collective's leadership team. They're making plans to transition the volunteer-based organization to a formal entity by the beginning of next year. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Nuya Zhao.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Stick around as Catherine Young sits down with the new clerk of court. Thanks for watching.
And you can stay current with the Rockbridge area news on our website. That's rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. See you next Tuesday at 3 p.m. on Channel 18.